Hey guys, I jeez. Okay. Hey guys, today this might be a shorter video because dies instantly. Come on, today might be a little shorter of a video because I kind of gotta go take a shit, but that's fine because I'm gonna. If I go take a shit now, I'm gonna not go back into bed. So therefore, I'm making this video now. And rather giving myself constipation or something. Conceptation, constellation, concept, page, and chlamydia. Yeah. Now, okay. So today, my plans are to drink a little bit of coffee just to get me started. Just like the other 5 days or whatever, I've been drinking so much. Not so very much. Just been drinking a tiny bit of coffee every day, and I'm starting to feel the long term effects. Even though I'm just drinking like one glass of like really weak coffee, because I'm really sensitive to like basically anything. And so if I drink one cup of like regular, like what people would think is like somewhat weak-ish coffee, my entire day is like, yo, I'm gonna do everything, or I just get like overstimulated or whatever, and I can't do anything. So I resort to drinking like very weak coffee and drinking like very little of it. Because if I drink way too much, or if I drink too quickly, I spasm basically. Not actually, but I I have a hard time doing one thing. It goes from like me not being able to do anything to, or there are like three stages of caffeine thing. Like no caffeine, I do very little. Like I can do like very little things, like make stuff like very slowly or whatever, and then just enough caffeine, and that depends on like the day, I guess. But it's generally like very low uh, amounts. I'm able to do a lot more, and I'm able to sit and do one thing instead of like bouncing around. And then if I take way too much in too short of a time, I get like all sweaty, and I get like anxious, and I get like jittery, just like the things that people say. And I can feel like when I drink caffeine or coffee, I don't drink any other caffeine drinks. Like I know there's caffeine in soda, but I don't drink soda. I guess I drink tea sometimes. So that's like a different. Sometimes I drink tea. Uh, I don't know how much caffeine there really is in it, but I drink tea in the night, and I think, or at night before I go to bed, just to calm myself down. Um, but I think some of the tea uh, things that I have a little bit more caffeine in them, because I remember one time when I had a cup of tea before going to bed, and I had the worst sleep, even with like my medicine, like my sleeping medication. Like I woke up so many times during the night, and I had to piss, and I had to, I don't know, it just felt like I was not falling asleep when I was like waking up like every other hour or whatever. Um, yeah. So yeah, but I do. I do love coffee though. It's like I like the taste, because it often, it depends on the brand, of course, but I feel like the I'm not sponsored, so fuck Friele, but I like Friele because it tastes kind of uh like caramel, but just not sweet, if that makes sense. It's like the caramel taste, but not the sugar, not the sugary taste. And I don't like sugary or sweet tastes. I find them like, or some things, like if I eat, let's say I eat, or when I say that I don't like sweet things, I don't like refined sweet things, like things with like way more sweetness than fruit, because fruit I find very sweet, because I don't eat any other sweet stuff. So fruit often is like a very nice thing for me because it's got nutrients, like actual nutrients, and then it's got like more, it's got fructose instead of like refined sucrose or whatever it's called. Um, and it's got also a little bit of fiber as well, if I eat the fibrous things. And oh yeah, and also nuts. That's very nice because nuts just, I don't, I used to eat like salted peanuts and like salted cashew nuts, but then I found like unsalted nuts, and I was like, yo, this is so much better because then I don't get like sodium, my sodium levels don't go too high and I don't have a headache. And now I'm feeling like I'm going to puke because I think I ate, oh yeah, oh, I ate way too late yesterday, and I ate way too much at the yesterday, last night, I mean. Um, and whenever I eat, like before I go to bed, and I eat way too much of whatever I eat, I get like I feel like I'm going to puke when I wake up, or I have like a stomach cramp and stuff, and it's just like, oh my god, why do I do that? But I know why I do that, because if I don't eat before I go to bed, or at least before I take my medicine, my sleeping medication, I start hearing voices and stuff in, for example, like fans and stuff. Like if I've been sitting, like I've taken my medicine and I've been waiting for like my meal to cook, um while I'm just like blendering and stuff, and then the fans, it's not that the fans just suddenly start whispering, it's not that the coil whine or like the fan noises sound, no, that I'm interpreting them as whispering. It's like they change sound. It's like a sound that they only make while I'm like, when I've not eaten and taken my meds. Like it's a completely different sound. It's kind of like the difference between fan noise and coil whine. It's not the same sound, but it's, and the sources are different kind of things, but it's not either of those, and it's not the hard drive spinning up either. It's just like the tone changes, and the, like they're not whispering words, they're just whispering. It's like, it's like, it's not, it doesn't sound like a PC, it sounds like a woman. And okay, it sounds like a woman, and I'm like, bro, or it depends on what it is, because when I if I make bread at in the middle of the night and I use like the dough mixer, I feel like that's a man speaking, and then the fan over the stovetop, that's, it sounds like a it sounds like women singing, kind of like pop song, kind of ish. Like it's very faint, but it's like, when you overhear a concert from very far away, it's kind of like that. Like the frequencies get like muffled, or because it's not actual music being there, it's the brain, or this is at least how I think it works. Like it's my brain recognizing patterns in the frequencies, or the frequencies are getting like altered by my brain. And so it sounds like they're singing words or singing like lyrics, but it's like fading in and out, or it's becoming like unclear. The more I focus on it, the less clear it feels. Because when I'm not paying attention to it and I'm just like hearing it off in the distance, uh, it sounds like words. And then when I listen close to it, it's kind of like how AI art looks. It looks fine at a distance, and then or at least the old stuff before it like became better. Like at a distance, you're like, okay, this looks cool, and then you look closer and like, okay, it's this is wrong and this is wrong, and like then you look even closer and like, oh, okay, no, this all of this is wrong, and like, yeah, I don't know, it feels weird. It's kind of scary because I'm just like, okay, what if my brain just snaps and I just start seeing people and stuff? Because I had a little moment, or I had a little like period of time where my imagination was like way too strong, and like I would get like paranoid and shit before going to bed for like months. And I think that was maybe because of wow, the mirror isn't mirroring. That was kind of cool. It's like a window instead. No, I'm literally just like looking at a shadow of a thing, and it's like a shadow of a thing in the. It's not. It's literally just a triangle, but the way it's like reflected, like it's just continuation, not like a mirrored image. Just like makes it look like it's a window instead. And I guess that's just how mirrors work, but I don't know. It just seemed so cool. It's like a tiny thing that just doesn't matter. It's just like, whoa, that's how mirrors work, I guess. But yeah, I had a moment where I was like really paranoid. Like it was for like a few months and stuff. I think maybe a year. I don't remember how long it was. It felt like very long. Maybe it was just like a month or two, or maybe it was a few months. I don't remember. But anyway, whenever I looked somewhere and then I looked away in my like in my apartment, in my head there were someone standing there when I look back in my memory, but when I look back, there are no people there. There is nothing there. Then when I look away again, there is something there in my memory. Like it's kind of like my brain is taking the video, and it's kind of like while I'm looking at the thing, I'm seeing like kind of like a double view of the scene. Like one view is like my eyes, or like the feed from my eyes, and the other is like taken, like that feed is going through like Photoshop or whatever, like After Effects, and like my brain is putting in someone before it saves it to memory. But like my conscious experience, like when I'm looking at it, like in real time, there is no one there. But my brain is also like putting someone in there before it goes to memory. So it's kind of like it's not a hallucination. It's just like imagination, but it's in combination with paranoia. Like I used to feel like so like I couldn't explain it. I didn't know why I felt so paranoid, but every time I would like get ready for bed, I would just feel so paranoid, and I just felt like I was freaking out, and like everything was just going to get fucked up. Um, and I don't know how to explain it because I don't really, and I don't, I'm very bad at remembering like emotions or feelings. So whenever I think back on it, I'm just like, yeah, well, I was just like uh, imagining this stuff, or I guess I was just pretending it was there or whatever. But whenever I like end up in some of those situations again, I'm just like, oh, okay, no, I wasn't just playing around. Because like the fear or the paranoia is so real when it happens, but then like the day after, I'm just like, bro, what the fuck? There was no one there, and I knew there were no one there, but like, why was I so fucking scared? And then the next time I go into that state of mind, I'm just like, okay, now I understand, now I remember again. And so it's kind of like, at least those, I feel like it's kind of like the silence from Doctor Who. Those guys where you look at them, you can see them, and then when you look away, you don't remember ever seeing them. Like you never saw them. Like you just blanked out, and then you look at them again, and you're like, oh, who are they? And then you look away, forget everything about them. Like you never saw them, and then you look back, and you're like, oh, who are they? And then you look away, never saw them. Yeah, it feels like that, but just like the opposite way. It's like you look at them, they're not there, and then you look away, they're there in the memory. Then you look at them again, they're not there, and then you look away, they're in the memory. Like what? Where? I don't know. Maybe it's some like some symptom of stress or whatever. Maybe it's like just the byproduct of having like a strong imagination. But I don't even know if I have a strong imagination, because sometimes when people say like, oh, I can spin an apple in my head and I see the color, it's red or green or whatever. Like I don't, at least not all the time, or at least when the times where I've seen like images very clearly are when I'm falling asleep or when I'm like just waking up. That's when I see very vivid images in my head. Like I can lay down in my bed, and I can just like close my eyes, and like a slideshow, like each like is a new image. Like yesterday I was laying down in my bed and super tired, and I was like, huh, very cool images. And like it would be like um kind of like a puzzle, like a 3 by 3 grid of something. It wasn't like exactly three, it wasn't like a grid, like a square grid. It was kind of like a bendy 3 by 3 grid, uh, with like organic shapes, and it would just like change out one of the shapes, like uh, one of the parts in the 3 by 3. Yeah, it would change one of them, like, and like it just looked so cool, and I was like, whoa, okay, but it didn't have colors. I think it was like, well, it started to have more and more colors, but it starts in like black and white, but it's not like entirely like black and white. It's more like it's it's an object with no color and no shade. Like it's just, I don't know. It's kind of like how you can see like a black hole kind of thing. You don't see the black hole, but you see the thing around them. It's not like the light was bending around it, but it was like the object was kind of like there, not like see through, but it wasn't solid. Damn, words, the I don't know enough words to describe these things. I guess it's a good thing I'm talking about this stuff in this format, because I'm getting to I'm getting better. Like I've recently I've felt like a lot more confident in my speaking, because I'm like practicing more and more, like just speaking and stuff. Because I often like isolate myself in my apartment and don't talk to anyone for like weeks on end, sometimes even months. Um, and I I don't really speak very much. I usually text because I don't like calling people most of the time. Um, so rarely, I rarely like get to practice my speaking abilities. Especially my Norwegian is like lacking so hard. Me whenever me whenever I try to speak Norwegian nowadays, I'm just like popping in like English words and stuff, because bruh, I don't really like Norwegian anymore. I mean, it's kind of a funny language, but it's like, I don't know, it's there are so many words that I've just never heard, or I've heard but I don't know the meaning of, and when someone says it, it's just like, oh my god, what the hell kind of word is that? And then they explain it, and I'm like, oh, I know the English word of it, and like I know, okay, because when I hear what the word is, I associate it with what it is in English, and I'm just like, okay, now I understand what you mean, because I just think of it as the English word. So, I don't know. I sometimes I think in English, sometimes I think in Norwegian. It just depends on like who I'm uh think like what kind of thing I'm thinking about. Like if I'm thinking about something related to um like if I'm thinking of how to reply to someone, or like if I'm thinking of like ideas for a project or something, I'm often thinking in English, because I'm trying to like think of how to explain the things to other people, and therefore it's usually that I'm just like replaying the same question or the same answer. Um, like the other day, uh, I had drank enough coffee to like have enough stimulation in my head, that I didn't need to speak out loud, and I didn't need to. I didn't feel the need to like listen to a podcast, or like look at videos, or listen to music or anything. I just sat in silence, and the only thing in my head, I don't remember what the thought was, but I was like um, going through an idea, and like thinking of something I was going to reply to someone. And then whenever I came to the conclusion of what I wanted to say or write to that person, um, I just replayed the entire string of thought, and I came to the same conclusion. I did the same thoughts. It just like replayed over and over and over and over again for hours. And I was just like, oh, I'm getting sick of this thought. But then I couldn't stop, because it just kept repeating. Like it just didn't stop. I couldn't stop it, because like whenever I tried thinking of something else, it just came back in mind. Like the original thought just came back to mind, and just like overtook the entire thought. And it's kind of nice, because I was like in flow. So I was like not experiencing time very accurately. Like hours would go by. Like I think I sat down at like um 9 or 10 in the morning, and then I look at the clock and like, Jesus, it's 10 p.m. and I haven't taken my sleep medication and I have to go to a thing tomorrow. And I think it was on Monday. Yeah, it was on Monday. I drank 1 cup of coffee when I was at the hobby workshop thingy. And then I came home and I was like, okay, today I'm gonna make. Oh, okay, so it was 9 a.m. It was 5 p.m. Okay, so it was 5 hours just gone, I think. Um, it was very fun because I was making stuff in Substance Painter, and I love Substance Painter now. It's like really fun, and I'm kind of having a moment where I'm just like, okay, what do I make in Blender versus what do I just make with textures? And I guess I'm gonna find that out whenever I make more, because right now I don't know. Right now I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna just try to see how much I can just make in Substance Painter. But then I'm running into the issue of like the silhouette gets boring because it's just smooth. And so I'm trying to like figure out how do I make the silhouette stronger or like more interesting in like and also not no while also not just like crowding it, like overcrowding it. And I've been looking at some like images while I've been laying in bed right now, like right before I started recording this. I looked at a lot of different images online, and I was just like, okay, maybe I can do this, maybe I can do that, and like all of the things that I saw was like really cool. And then I look back at the thing that I made, and I'm just like, oh, the proportions are off. Oh fuck. And like the design is just like uneven. Like the distribution of detail is like different for every body part, because like the head has very good distribution of detail. The chest plate, or like the chest, yeah, has somewhat good distribution, and then the legs have like way too busy distribution of like random details and stuff. And the scale is too consistent, so like on the head I have like the silhouette is strong, and then the large details, there's a decent amount of large details, and then there are some medium details, and then there are a few tiny details just to make like it more detailed, right? And that's kind of like I can look at the head model and see that it's like, okay, I like it because it has the distribution of details in the places that it has. But the um but the chest plate, or the chest, I guess, it has it kind of, it's not inconsistently like less stuff. It's just, it feels kind of disconnected in a way. It's kind of like a different type of vibe. It's not the same kind of look, and I'm a little unsure of how to achieve the same like look without changing the entire thing. And I don't want to change the entire thing, because if I change the entire thing, I will most likely end up scrapping the entire model, just like starting from scratch again. And that might be a good idea, because now I I started that model by making it out of like separate parts. Like I started with the head, then I made the chest, and then I started making the legs, and then the feet and stuff. Um, and I made those separately, like disconnected parts. I started texturing the head, and then like when after I made the chest, I imported that as well, and then I started making textures for that, like after I'd made the head, and then I made the legs after I'd like textured the chest, and that's kind of why it looks all like messy and like doesn't really have one style, because I didn't really have the same thoughts in my head when I was making them, like with the textures and with the modeling. Like I didn't have the same idea. I just did different things for each model, and it's not like it's like really bad. It's more that it's just inconsistent, and that's what's making it bad, I think. Because until I put the legs in, or no, before I connected the legs and the chest and the head, because it's a robot type bit, and it kind of like has segments like that, and then it has um like a filter, or like a fabric or something connecting the chest and legs, like a lower torso, I mean. It's not just legs on the chest. That would maybe look a little weird, but yeah, the lower torso, like the and like from the hips, yeah, basically the pelvis, the pelvis, and down. um and then you have like the belly and the, like between the pelvis and the rib cage, like that's kind of where the fabric that's like covering up the uh, skeleton inside of the, like the spine, the skeleton spine or whatever, in the machine or whatever it is. I don't know if it's a cyborg or if it's a machine. Maybe it's just a machine. I gave it like those like curved running shoes that the like the amputation, the amputee shoe or whatever it's called, like those really cool like bouncy shoes where they have like the curve on the, like they have some kind of either like carbon fiber or something, some rubber or whatever, uh like attached to their, like if they have their knee intact, or like the midway up their shin or whatever, like the lower leg, and then they attach a thingy to that, like that. If I ever end up with like double amputation on my lower legs, like I would I don't like, I'm saying this now without even knowing like how it would be, but I think it would be cool, like if I ever had to, like if I lost my legs, for example, like not entire legs, like not up until like the like uh, up to my thigh or whatever, that would not be very fun. But if I lost like my feet, like the lower part of my lower leg, I guess, like it would be cool having those like maybe even like digitigrade legs, like that would be kind of cool. um Maybe a little heavy, or they would probably be very expensive if they were made of like titanium and like, or maybe not titanium is necessary, maybe just carbon fiber and like plastic and stuff. But like make them interesting, like make them look like props, like movie props, instead of like the I don't know. When I've looked at like um those kinds of things, they look kind of boring. They just have like straps and like plastic, and like they wrap around your like the stuff you have left. Like they look boring, and if I like, of course, I'm not like throwing shade at people who have like been in accidents or whatever and like lost their legs. Like, I'm not like, bro, they're so boring. It's more like if I when if I had to do that, or I don't even know if like, because people are like I don't know if my confidence would be different if like I lost my legs and had like prosthetics. That's what it's called. Yeah, if I had like prosthetics and stuff, I don't know if I would be like always trying to cover them up or like embracing them. Like I wouldn't know until I had like stuff like that. But I if I had the confidence for it, like I think I would focus on like getting my confidence up about it, because it would be cool to like just be able to run really fast, because those running shoes type stuff, they they seem like really good for running because they have like dampening in them. You don't like fuck up your knee maybe. um I don't know, it just seems like a very cool thing. And then I don't know, either that or like um I don't know, I feel uh like I don't necessarily want to have like my legs amputated, and I don't uh, uh now I know there are people who have like or I've heard at least of people who have like uh there's something like a mental condition um where you feel like a limb or a part of your body is like alien, like it's not yours, like it belongs not to you. Like if you suddenly grew like a sixth finger, it would feel weird and you would want to have that removed, right? It would be like, oh, why do I have a sixth finger? I only want the five. Like, why would I want six fingers? Like, that's kind of their mindset. And so they sometimes get like amputations and stuff. Like, I'm not thinking of doing that um just to have those running shoes, because I know there are versions of that for people with legs. um so like I'm not thinking like, yo, I should just like cut off my legs. Like, bro, I should go to one of those countries where they, because I don't think you would find a doctor in Norway that would like go through with that. Like, I think you would be assigned like a therapist or something to like embrace the thing, or like get help with the mental condition thingy. Uh, cause I don't know, it's kind of like, I do understand that it's kind of, you don't have control over the thing, but it's kind of, I guess sometimes you might be able to like make someone think differently if you send them to therapy maybe. Or maybe I don't know. I've I've been to therapy and I feel like I didn't really gain any. Well, I did gain some stuff, I guess. I just felt like I was like managing to do it on my own, and I guess that's part of the plan. I guess to like, if I was if I had therapy sessions and I was done there and I felt like, oh, I can't do this without therapy, then I guess the therapy wouldn't be as effective, because then I would like need therapy to maintain my health, like the mental health. But if I manage, if I feel like, no, if I build up the self reliance or whatever, I guess I don't need to like. No, bruh. I just gotta, bruh. The words kind of just lost. I don't know what I'm thinking about right now. It's just like hopping around. I'm going from like, oh, I can see the connection of why I ended up here. But yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna finish that model, because I'm just realizing like, oh shit, I should focus more on like the silhouette and not just details on details and stuff like that. Because if I only care about the details, it will not be very cool with the like a bad silhouette or like a boring silhouette. Because when you look at when you look at things, it's often the details that are most often like focused on, and it like you often need to have more like knowledge about stuff to focus on the silhouette and stuff of things. um that's at least how I feel, because um yeah, I often like looking at the details of stuff, and then I forget about the silhouette. Because I'm looking at, for example, this like the photography light stand with the light on it. Like, it has levers, it has knobs, it has a cable, and it has like screwy bits that makes it look like it is a thing. It's not just like a cylinder with a light on it, or just a pipe with a light on it. It has like features, and it has like varying thickness of that cylinder because it needs to go up and down or change its height. And I can see that the legs even have like they have the support thingies that goes to the thing, and it's not just like cylinders going into the cylinders, it's like cylinders connecting to a thing that's connecting to the thing, or connecting to the other cylinder, and it's making a like a trapezoid. I think that's the name. Like, it's not just a cylinder going inside of a cylinder, it's like a cylinder, or from this view it's like a rectangle meeting a trapezoid, like I think, yeah, and then going into another rectangle. You can't see this stuff, so you either need to like imagine or just turn off your brain, I guess. But yeah, it's kind of a different thing thinking about uh, uh, silhouettes and stuff, because all the one of the things that also makes it hard is that I usually try to keep my models, like model them cleanly with like clean topology and edge flow and stuff, and that makes it hard to just look at the silhouette, because I'm often thinking of, okay, how does this technically look? Like, how does this look technically? Like, is the shading here correct? Oh shit, I'm gonna get new SIM card, I guess, in like no, my SIM card is getting disabled in like 2, 3, 4 days. That's fine. But yeah, on Monday. Okay. But yeah, I find it hard to think of silhouettes, because I am often thinking about how to keep the geometry like technically correct instead of looking at what's cool. And I guess that's kind of the benefit of sculpting. Instead of thinking of how the topology is, you think of how does it look, like what does the stuff look like. And I guess that's because when you read or when you sculpt, you first sculpt and then you retopologize, and then you texture, because you need the retopologizing. Like, basically, you make the geometry more clean, because when you sculpt, you have like millions of polygons, and then you can like lower that down to like thousands of polygons, and then you also get like cleaner, I don't know what to call it. You get different, I don't know, you get something, I guess. Or maybe you don't get anything. I kind of want to sculpt now. Maybe there was one guy who asked me if I could like send him the model when I'm done with it, so he can use it for like a gun showcase. And I was just like, yeah, okay, but only if I finish it, because I didn't like plan to finish it. It was more like a practice piece, because I realized that me not having an idea of how I wanted it to end up is kind of like holding me back, because I've remade the same thing, like I've repainted the same thing in like 4 different ways, because I've lost the previous detail and stuff. And so just like, okay, since I lost the last thing, I'm gonna start from the beginning again, and then I've started from the beginning again, and then I've started from the beginning again, because I realized that like if I move the parts, or if I because I can change the model, I can like or not remodel, but I can like change the mesh, and I can like unwrap again, and then I can import that to Substance Painter again, and it will preserve what I've painted. But I maybe the non-destructive paths, or the curves, the paint curves, could be like, it's not, maybe it is, maybe it is, wow, that thought literally just stopped. I was having a picture in my head of like a loop from a demo video of Substance Painter, and I just lost my entire train of thought. Yeah, the paint curves might be preserved even if I change stuff. I don't know how that's gonna work with, like, if I change the model or move the model. Maybe it's like those things are based on like world position instead of like UV position. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's a very fun process. Maybe I'm gonna try sculpting, because the thing I don't like about sculpting is that I well, I guess I'm not familiar with it because I've not done it that much, and kind of I kind of have a problem with, like, when you make a base mesh, like a mesh that you have basically as close to the shape as you want, like that you want. Uh, oh, the rain is intense. A base mesh is like you want it to be close enough to what you're making to like skip a lot of the process, but also like you don't want it to be the finished thing, and the like where, like, in between those two things, I don't know where, like, what do I sculpt and what do I just make into a base mesh. And so it's kind of the same as like me having problems with like understanding what do I model and what do I paint in Substance Painter, I think. And one more like annoying thing is when I sculpt, I'm going to have to retopologize it, and that's like another step, and it's gonna take time and effort. And I guess I could do it like stupidly and like just use either the auto retopologizing tools, or I could like just unwrap the sculpt, which would be, I guess it wouldn't be that terrible if I reproject the UVs onto a, well, it would be weird because when I make new seams, it would not line up with the other. Yeah, no, it would be different, I think. Would the reprojection be like based on the world position or the texture space? I don't know. Stuff that like I saw they had like a Blender had like a UV mapping modifier, and I think that was to transfer UV maps. So I guess I could have a lower poly. No, but then I don't know. It's kind of weird because I don't know. I'm having like second guessing. I'm second guessing like my skill set. Like, bro, am I actually? Because I know that I don't really know anatomy, and I don't really know how to make learning anatomy fun. Because what I'm thinking it takes to learn anatomy is that it's gonna take a lot of like boring remembering stuff. But if I remember the things, I can forget it. Like I'm gonna forget it. If I understand it, like if I understand why all of the things are the way they are, then it's gonna be easier to remember. And also the intuition will be better if I understand it. Because if I don't understand, it's harder to do. Like if you at least one I said this was gonna be like a shorter video. Now it's soon an hour long. Damn. But yeah, if I if I don't understand something very well, it's way harder to do the thing. Like uh, my under if I have to remember something, it means that I'm not understanding it. And if I'm not understanding it, that's usually why it's hard. Not the penis. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like math, because the things that I do understand, like plus and minus, like I feel like I understand that pretty well, because it's very simple. Um, but like division, I don't understand how it's done, and it's just like, okay, how do I? Okay, it's because I don't think I was. Oh my god! Sorry if you have epilepsy. I guess. Um, when I think I just wasn't at school when we were learning about division, or the explanation that I was given just didn't make sense. Kind of like I think what they said was like, okay, you just need to remember like what is like it's multiplication backwards, and like, okay, so instead of like 4 divided by 4, no, that's not what I meant. 16 divided by 4, that's 4. And like, okay, that's easy to remember. And I understand that it's like you give those 4 parts, like you divide, like you take those 16 things, and you distribute them equally to 4 people, and then each of those 4 people have 4 things. Like I understand that, but it's like understanding how to do it. Like how do you like if I don't remember the numbers needed to multiply. Wait, isn't it? Yeah, because like if you have 2 numbers. Yeah, okay, so the thing I was told was like, okay, what numbers do you need to multiply with 4 to get 16? You need 4. And then you take 16 divided by 4 to get 4. I don't know if that's easier because I know that 16 divided by 4 is 4, or if I actually like realized how division works. Bro, I don't know. Sometimes it just feels like something snaps, and sometimes it just feels like I don't understand anything. Like, bro, am I just stupid or something? And sometimes, yeah, but sometimes, well, most times, no. Most times I'm not understanding stuff, and then sometimes I'm just like, yo, I understand it, or at least I feel like I understand it, because something in my head, just like a picture comes up, and like it's a picture that I understand what means, and so I'm just like, yo, okay, that's what this means. Because sometimes, or most of the times, I get pictures in my head, and if I don't understand what the picture means, I don't understand like what to do, or yeah, I don't understand like why it does that. I don't know. I'm just focusing on the triangle in the mirror again. Um, my brain power just went to the triangle, like all halfway through my sentence. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go make stuff, or oh yeah, I'm gonna I learned that I had like messed up when I had been practicing saxophone like until like last Sunday. Yeah, because it was the Sunday when I was at my grandmother's house. Like the cork um, bits, like the packing cork for the saxophone, like for some of the things, they had been blocking some of the uh, pedals or like some of the openings, and so I had a completely different sounding saxophone than I have right now. Because now I realized that those aren't supposed to stay in there. They're supposed to be taken out when you have your saxophone like uh, not sent by mail anymore. When you have gotten it, like you're supposed to take them out, and now all of the buttons work. Like I don't have to press funky buttons to get other buttons to work. Like it's just you need less air as well, and it's just easier to play. I need to strain my muscles way less because it's just you my the whole thing is completely different. And I was going to perform uh like very little, like a tiny bit of what I knew or what I had learned, and it just sounded completely different because I discovered those like blocks of cork uh minutes before I was supposed to go and get picked up to get driven over there. And so I was just like, oh, curious. Okay, it's. I hope these aren't supposed to be there because they just fell out now, and I hadn't really seen them. Like I didn't see them because the amount of levers and stuff on the saxophone is just like overwhelming. Like the pipe, it's not pipes, but it's like rotational shafts, like drive shaft. No, not drive shafts, but it's kind of like shafts that like take the rotation from the pedals to where they need to go, uh, and those makes it seem like it's a very complex instrument, but it's actually very intuitive. I've been trying to like learn songs by ear, but just like um, stumbling upon the notes or one of the notes in the song, and I'm just like, and then like one of the notes just gives me the picture in my head of one of those song or like one of a song, and then I'm just like, okay, that's that part of the song. Okay, how do I go from there and further? And then maybe that's like in the middle of a song, and then I go like backwards, kind of. And so I'm just like, kind of just like analyzing like which note sounds correct-ish. And by time I might get better at this, or I might be doing something wrong and I might get worse. But I don't know. I have to take a shit, and it's, oh my god, my asshole is bursting now soon. So I'm gonna have to go. Thanks for watching. Leave a like, maybe do the thing, and yeah, goodbye.